we see Saudi Arabia coming in and investing a lot of money into golf, and they started this new league, LIV, and now there's this debate between should members of the PGA Tour join this new league and the moral implications of joining this new league. And I was just wondering your thoughts on this new Saudi Arabian league and whether or not they should be reprimanded for joining this league and whether they bear any moral responsibility for joining this league.
Yeah, the new league is going to be interesting. I know that the PGA is not very happy about certain players going and playing over there. I think that I want to say Phil Mickelson is in some trouble because he's actually going to play in this league, and he got like a payment. Also, the other thing is that I saw Tiger Woods was implicated in this somehow. It looks like okay, here we go. I just found this.
He turned down $800 million, Tiger Woods, to play in this league.
He turned down $800 million?
Yeah, he was offered $800 million guaranteed to play in this league. He turned it down.
Wow. It looks like Phil Mickelson was reportedly paid $200 million to be the star attraction of the Rebel LIV Golf Tour. And it says whose major shareholder is the PIF, the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Saudi Arabia. That is pretty crazy. So Phil Mickelson, I guess he's playing there and he got $200 million and he said, fuck it, I don't care. I guess, money talks, bullshit walks, but it's been very chaotic, and I'm very curious to see because the PGA Tour suspended, here we go, this is from per Axios here. It says the PGA Tour suspended 17 players who are taking part in this week's inaugural LIV event, and any player who takes part in future events will face the same punishment. I know Trump actually welcomed this LIV Tour, and he says that he's going to welcome them to play at his clubs and his different courses. So I imagine that they'd probably play at Mar-a-Lago at some point. He welcomed them in New Jersey to play there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. In terms of a monopoly, right? The PGA Tour is a monopoly, right? They have no competition really in the U.S., and there should be another league. There should be a competitive league. So for the PGA Tour to kind of stop people, I mean, I guess you could argue that if there are players who are like official, it would be like if a guy signed in the NBA to the Knicks and during that time he decides he wants to play in Europe and whatever, the Euro League. Like, yeah, I guess the NBA does kind of have precedent. But the whole thing is that when the guy isn't playing in tournaments and it's kind of, after the Masters and like kind of chilling, it's his free time. So unless there's some type of restrictive agreement, I don't see any reason why that guy couldn't fucking play in both leagues. It doesn't really make any sense to me. But particularly with older golfers, like the older golfers, they should go for it. Like, why not? Like Phil Mickelson, the whole thing with him is that he actually got suspended from the PGA Tour, and he lost a lot of sponsors because he actually made a comment that was very critical of Saudi Arabia. If you remember, he was basically someone asked him about how he felt about the whole Jamal Khashoggi thing, and he was like, "Oh, he got fucking whacked," and then he took their money anyway. So it just shows you that he doesn't give a flying fuck. That's number one. But number two, I guess Saudi Arabia forgave him or something, or I don't know what happened. Maybe they threatened him, allegedly. But he ended up getting $200 million, so he doesn't give a flying fuck, clearly.
Well, I mean, I don't think Saudi Arabia forgave him. I think they remember that, and now they're trying to make a fool or an ass of him. Because if you look at what they're doing with Biden, they're posting pictures of Biden basically fist pumping them, shaking their hands, and then on the other minute, the Crown Prince is saying, "Oh, Biden is senile. Biden has lost his mind. Biden is this," and they're making a fool or a mockery of him by, him going there and basically submitting to the king and looking like he's the almighty and the all powerful. But the question here is, if someone offered me $100 million, $200 million, I don't think I would turn it down, even if it was the Saudi Arabian League, because golf, right? You play these tournaments and you only get paid if you win. Like, it's not guaranteed, while the Saudi Arabian money is guaranteed. And you look at sports like golf, tennis, there's no guaranteed money involved. So if you're a player like Phil Mickelson, who's basically over the hump of his career, and he's most likely not going to win any more Masters or any more like major tournaments where this money, I think it's basically a good deal and a better shot to basically take the guaranteed money over the suspected whatever that you might win, but you might not win. And yeah, I think what Saudi Arabia is going to do is there's going to be implications of them putting pressure with the whole oil situation, where they're going to basically release more oil. And if Biden basically fines the PGA Tour, because I think what the PGA Tour is doing here is very dangerous. They're basically committing a lot of antitrust violations by saying, if you play in this tour in Saudi Arabia, then you're not allowed to play with us. That's basically putting pressure on your employees and trying to assert your dominance as a monopoly, which is insane. They're going to get, I think they're going to get fined for this, and there's going to be a lot of pushback on this. I don't think we heard the end of this. I think this is just the beginning.
Absolutely. And it just reminds me of the whole situation of like the NFL, right? Remember back in the day, the NFL was battling, this was in the 80s. The NFL was battling with the USFL, which Trump actually owned one of the USFL teams. I think he owned the Generals, and he had Herschel Walker, if you remember. But the whole thing is like, and then this whole thing transpired recently. Like you saw the XFL come back out, and now they're more of a serious league. It's not really kind of ran by the WWE. The Rock kind of bought out the league, resuscitated it, and made it into a legitimate football league that will compete with the NFL, but it will compete in a way that it sort of happens after the Super Bowl. And then like the same thing with the USFL. The USFL came back, they returned. So now you're really seeing that the NFL's monopoly or like full grasp of football at the professional level is really no longer a thing. You're going to see smaller leagues, like even the Arena Football League and some other varying different leagues kind of step in, and they're building out their own IP, and they're kind of coming around. But the main thing is with this league, LIV, that a lot of people don't realize is that like Greg Norman is one of the biggest he's like the front guy, like he's like the lead guy of this LIV league. And Greg Norman's a Hall of Fame golfer. Like he's no slouch, right? He's designed golf courses. Like he's a bright guy. And the whole thing is that I think that part of him being the front man for this new league is obviously money. Like without a doubt, money, I would say, is probably number one. But number two is that he actually tried to do something similar. A lot of people don't know this, but he tried to do something similar in like the early 90s or like mid 90s, where he created another thing, and he called it like, it was a competing entity. It was called like the World Golf Tour. And like the PGA Tour, they pretty much just took it and stole the idea, because what happened was like they ended up doing international tournaments. So the PGA Tour at that time was only in the United States, and then it expanded international. They basically just took his idea of like having golf tournaments around the world, and they were like, oh, let's just incorporate that into the PGA Tour umbrella. And then they didn't pay anything. So they just stole his idea. So I like totally see where he's coming from, and he's like pissed off about the whole thing. And, he's a bright guy, so I'm sure it'll all work out. But I think the PGA's, like you said, the PGA's monopoly, it's they're violating antitrust laws. I think they're in for a world of trouble. There's a lot of money on the other side of the table, and I think they're going to get squashed like the cockroaches they are, as Kevin O'Leary likes to say.
Well, they're definitely going to get squashed like the cockroaches they are. But here's the thing. What's the alternative? What else can they do if they don't do this? You're competing with an entity that basically doesn't care about profit. They're investing in this league to basically, repair ties between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. There's a political motive to this. It's not tied to them making money. So that's why they're, these golfers are getting paid absorbent amounts of money. It's not because they're going to make money off this league. This league is going to be billions and billions of dollars of loss they're going to have from this league. But it's to repair ties between the United States and Saudi Arabia.